Paper was like gold in medieval times.
Oh, not tobacco. Sugar.
That everything we thought we knew about the world might turn out to be completely wrong.
So let me say what I gotta say and let the music play.
Oh yeah. Yo, I was told that my flows wouldn't even make it to you. Ain't it funny how the money makes these people want to screw you in this biz? Never mind all these fools believing what you...
I love pasta. I could eat every day, but that doesn't mean I'll have the same dish every day. It's all about sauces. Once you know how to make some basic sauces, it's really endless. So whether you want to throw it on pasta, meat, fish, rice, it's all up to you.
Looking out for one another. I'm sticking with my brothers and my sisters and my mother, cause I would always rather try to tell you how it is. No edits, no cuts.
Today I'm gonna make a classic Italian tomato sauce. Super simple, few ingredients, and the great thing about it, it's the base for many great Italian sauces. First thing I'm gonna do is grab my saucepan and just put it on stove medium heat. Then grab some extra virgin olive oil, fill the bottom of the pan. We're gonna sketch out a little bit of garlic, peel it, and give it a fine chop. Same thing with the onion. We're just doing a sofrito, which is the base for most good Italian sauces. Peperoncino. These little chili peppers, break them up, and one more for good measure. And sofrito in Italian means to gently fry, saute. Most important thing now, a good can of peeled plum tomatoes. Now the hardest thing of this recipe is probably opening up the can. So, thank God they have these tins with these pull-out tops. And what we're gonna do is use the juices and all the plum tomatoes. Now the last thing, fresh basil. Please, when you make sauce, don't put that dried oregano, basil stuff that you find a little... No, fresh stuff. Chop it up with your hands, break it up, put it in. Lastly, a little bit of salt to taste. La salsa di 5 minuti, as my mom says, the sauce of 5 minutes. It takes about 10, but she used to say 5. I love making this next sauce. It's a tomato tuna cream sauce with sun-dried tomatoes. And I always get a kick out of inviting my friends over because they think I've slaved over a stove for hours, but if they only knew. I love spicy cream sauces. Throw a little peperoncino in. First off, squish my garlic with my knife to remove the garlic skin. Finally chop up the garlic. Sun-dried tomatoes are wonderful in this dish, and I like to cut in big chunks so you see the sun-dried tomatoes. And now we have black olives. Any black olives will do. Just pit them. Use your knife and give it a crush and the pits come out no problem. Our ingredients here are getting nice and friendly with each other, and we're going to add a couple of ladles of tomato sauce. Cook together for about 30 seconds. Next, I'm going to add my tuna, and I like leaving them in big chunks and breaking them up with my hand. The wonderful thing is you can use chicken, ground beef, whatever. This is a basic cream sauce. Of course, if you don't like olives, don't put olives. Our cream. This is where the magic happens. Regular whipping cream. If you want to put more, it's just going to look less pinky and maybe more white, more like a Alfredo sauce with a little tinge of red. I like to give it that kind of mix from red and white, so nice pink. Just before you add pasta, if your water is boiling, just add some salt to the water.
Hey, David! Butta la pasta!
Butta la pasta in Italy means throw in the pasta. That's a term used when people just arrive. Come on up!
We're starving.
Perfect. What you want to do is always drain your water from the pasta about a minute before it's cooked. You want to put it inside the sauce so it can cook with the sauce, and all the starches get released, and that will make the sauce nice and thick and creamy.
Hi, Dave. Oh, what can I do?
Water or the wine?
No, the water is so hot out.
Hey, what's this?
David! Royal free.
So you guys come to David's house, find a buffet of mozzarella.
I'm not on a diet when I come here. No. I eat when I come here. What do you think we come to David's house for?
Come stai?
Pezzettino di prosciutto cotto.
Via. Today I'm going to make a great mushroom sauce with porcini. Now this can be put on chicken, meat. I like it on toasted bread, and it's crostini a porcini. Puoi schiacciare un po' di aglio? Crush some garlic?
Sì.
Now there's nothing to be intimidated with these babies. Porcini mushrooms, all you have to do is grab a dry cloth or a toothbrush, give it a quick brush. It's very simple to clean. Tutto bene, Ciccio?
Sì.
Sì?
Abbastanza?
Abbastanza, sì, schiaccia un po', eh?
Sì.
Hai bisogno di questo?
No, faccio tutto con le mani.
Next, I'm just going to give the porcini mushroom a quick cut. I'm going to remove the end. Così. Via. Silver can eat that.
Yeah. Bravo, eh?
Hai visto, eh?
Chi ti ha insegnato?
Who taught me? And the porcini cap, same thing, in large strips. Fai bella figura, no, Marco?
Sì, così belli.
Sì. Now, same thing with this one. Just do a couple of them. And what I'm going to do is just apply to a saucepan with some olive oil. So I'm going to get that started. Marco, puoi tagliare un po' di pane?
Sì, prima.
So while Marco's cutting... load up here. While Marco's going to cut some bread, I'm going to just put some olive oil on a saucepan and heat it up. Facciamo 4 pieces.
Vai.
To each. You hungry?
A little bit.
Okay. Next thing in this recipe is nipitella. Now this stuff here grows wild in Chianti, and it's a mixture, un misto di menta and oregano, and it's wonderful. It's actually used almost exclusively for porcini. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of sprigs. Va bene così, eh? Oh, attento, eh? Easy on the wine, fa caldo.
Fa caldo, sì.
Okay. Add some salt at the very end, and that is it. We're going to put it on toasted bread.
Guarda, perfetto.
Ma sei un figo, eh? Dai, facciamo un po' di vino. Aspettiamo for the toast to get the...
Ora finisco di tagliare.
Marco's going to just...
Io sono preciso.
Very precise. The great thing about this is it's a great antipasto to serve to guests as a starter before dinner, or even just a snack, midday snack. With some Chianti, it's good.
Ok.
Tutto a posto?
Tutto a posto.
Bene.
Vai.
E vai. I'm just going to finish it off with a little more olive oil. Some salt. A little more.
The bread is quite ready.
The bread is quite ready. Via Marco, fatto. Now what I'm going to do is just grab the nipitella. That's why you keep it whole. You just leave the sprigs so you can easily remove it, and it's done its job. It flavors the mushrooms, the garlic, and...
Come sono? Buono?
Okay, via. And those are your crostinis a salsa di porcini.
Buono.
You like it, eh, Ciccio?
Buonissimo.
Buonissimo.
Buonissimo. Seduto.
Yeah, Silver likes the porcini, eh? Bravo, Silver. I got a great deal on some basil from Gennarino, my produce guy. I'm just gonna make some pesto and throw it back in the fridge. Pesto is one of those great sauces that can go good with almost anything: meat, fish, chicken, even inside tomato sauce. I enjoy putting it on toasted bread and just spreading it. It's great breakfast food. Now, there are no rules with pesto, just fine ingredients. Good olive oil, pine nuts, garlic, and basil. Now you can use a food processor, but I like the old-fashioned technique. My grandmother used to always use a mortar, so I'll do the same. It's really important, actually I lied, there are a few rules. One, make sure your basil leaves are dry. Spin it in a salad spinner and make sure that the water's completely out. Pat dry it with a cloth, because the water will actually make your pesto spoil sooner. I personally don't like too much garlic, 1 or 2 cloves, and I'm going to use coarse salt. This is good because the texture actually helps grind the basil leaves and gets all that great fragrance to come out, and the oils of the basil and everything else. A little bit of olive oil, give it a mush. I grind it inside the mortar. Now, I break this up in a couple of phases because it's hard work. So, I'm going to toast my pine nuts. Very important because that actually brings out a nutty kind of texture and flavor. Lightly toast them. Make sure you put on low heat because they actually can burn very quickly. You don't need to put any olive oil. Now I can go back to my grinding. Okay, a few more basil leaves. Slow process, but it comes out pretty good. And get your workout too. Okay, a little more olive oil. And just put a little bit of fresh ground pepper. Okay, check on my pine nuts. Yeah, that's it. Just want to lightly brown them. Just let these cool for a couple of minutes. Then add them to the mortar. Just keep going. My grandmother used to see me, she'd think I'm a wimp. She used to just go for hours and make great pesto. Just keep going. Maybe add a little more olive oil to get that nice even texture. Once in a while test it. Last thing, Parmigiano. Make sure you always buy fresh Parmigiano. Don't buy the grated stuff. You don't know what you're getting. When you grate it yourself, you know what you're getting. So, I told you it's hard work. So after you get a nice amount of Parmigiano, put it in. This actually binds everything together. Whew. Yeah, I should have used a food processor. Perfect. Perfect. Now I can tell my wife that I went for a jog. La salsa bolognese reminds me of those Sunday afternoons at the Rocco's where my mom would have the sauce simmering for hours. My cousins would come over, she would make fresh pasta, and of course we would have the sauce with tons of Parmigiano cheese. Easy to make. First off, to make this, you need 2 types of mincemeat. My favorite, beef and pork. Second, onions and garlic. And of course, classic bolognese, celery and carrots. Signora, serve un po' di carote? E anche sesamo. Bene. Grazie, ciao. And to turn these ingredients into a great sauce, of course, you need to start with a buon sofrito. I'm just going to add some extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of unsalted butter. And now I'm going to add some onions and garlic, some of my carrots, and my celery. Just mix it with the olive oil and the garlic and the butter and just let it all get acquainted with each other. Fresh rosemary, very important, because then just before you finish cooking the sauce, you can actually remove the sprig and it will give a wonderful aromatic flavor to the sauce. A little bit of peperoncino, just a couple of chili peppers. Give it a stir, continue stirring, it's nice and soft. I'm going to add my minced beef and pork. Now what I'm going to do is just break it up and cook it till it gets golden brown. That'll be about 10 minutes. Let it get absorbed with all the vegetables and the rosemary. Very important, when you cook, use good wine. Number 1, you should treat yourself and enjoy the cooking process. Pour yourself a glass, you relax, and of course, use that wonderful wine to cook with. About a cup. Now let that all absorb and reduce. Lastly now, I'm going to add 1 large tin of peeled tomatoes and all its juices, and this is basically the tomato sauce. Break up all those large pieces of tomatoes, get a nice even consistency. Some salt, a couple of leaves of fresh basil, just rip it up with your hands. So remember, just let it simmer for a couple of hours, check on it once in a while. I'm going to finish my glass of wine and enjoy the rest of the day.
do sol, da luz do mar, da fantasia teus beijos, teu calor, do teu amor que vai delirar, do teu amor que vem, do nosso amor que não vai passar, do nosso amor que virá. Vai, ai, ai, de ponta a ponta, ai, 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 vai, ai, oh, yeah. Ai, ai, onde queira, ai, ai.
The great thing about fresh pasta, takes 3-4 minutes to cook, tastes wonderful. Perfect. I'm just going to give the pasta a good mix with the Bolognese sauce. Shut off the heat, freshly grate some Parmigiano cheese, and drizzle some extra virgin olive oil.
Água que banha o meu corpo aqui pra mim, da luz do sol, da luz do mar, uma fantasia de teus beijos, teu calor, do teu amor que canta pra mim, do teu amor que vem, do nosso amor que não vai passar, do nosso amor que virá. Vai, ai, ai, de ponta a ponta, ai, 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 vai, ai,
Buonissimo.
Oh, magari ti rirasa.